the world, I feel, has got more violent than it ever has been, you know, in society.
More violent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's quite a few
You know, no
wars
one
kicking
can
around.
talk about anything. You can't put a point across without someone getting offended by it.
Oh,
I'm going politics
I got
again,
told,
aren't I?
no. I got told.
Do you think social media have a part to play in all of that?
110%.
Get them from your keyboard as opposed to
Even violence now. I feel like the young kids don't feel like. Huh?
They'll film it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You can't just get beaten up anymore.
Yeah. That used to happen. You get to fight with somebody, you get beaten up. Only the people who were there saw it. They laughed about it. They talked about it, and then they forgot about it.
Yeah.
Forgot forever. But now, if I get beaten up down the street, it's on TikTok
forever.
It'll be on flipping TikTok or YouTube forever.
Yeah.
You
So
know
now,
what I mean?
they're thinking I better carry a knife, so I don't get beaten up. Now these problems escalate.
That's what I'm saying. You're right there. It does escalate, and it makes kids feel like they need to protect themselves more. It's not so much that they're bad kids or anything like that, or they just want to get their street cred and be hard or anything like that. It's they feel like they need to protect themselves because society's become more violent.
Yeah, most stabbings, actually, it turns out. I used to date a surgeon, and she was saying that most stabbings are very skin deep because most people, when they're holding a knife, they just want the other person to go away, so they start jabbing, and then they accidentally stab them. Yeah. And that's why you end up with these tragedies. Like I think she at one point had to resuscitate a 17-year-old boy who died in her arms. Who died. Well, his heart stopped beating in her hand. She had to crack his chest, and it's horrendous. But at the same time, like she said, I was like, holy Christ! And she was like, yeah, but I don't think that the person they did murder him, but
They didn't mean to.
Yeah, and that's the tragedy of it. Because a lot of these kids are going down because murder's murder. You're going down for a while, but
of course, and that's what I'm saying. That's the law of England, the UK. Really, you murder, you have to do your time for it.
Even when I was in school, people carried knives. I had people in my school carry knives.
I had knives held up to me and that, and I'd like my earrings and necklace robbed.
Wow.
By people in my school. Yeah, that's how bad my school was.
Wow. That's scary as fuck.
Yeah, But with me though, I was one of those that I had no fear back then. Yeah. I'd be like, go on, stab me then. Go on. Go on then. I'd be like, I ain't giving you my necklace. You're gonna have to take it from me. Do you know what I mean? I was so argumentative. I thought I will fight you. I don't care how big you are. I will fight you.
But I feel like there was
to be like that.
You have to, yeah.
I feel like there was a layer of like. They're not going to just pull out the knife straight away in most instances. Most times there's a fight and then it escalates to knife. Yeah. Which was a bit better because you could just like stop that after a fight sometimes. Sometimes it'd be like you have a fight with somebody and they want to continue on. You'd be like, no, I'm done now. Yeah. And they move on and that's it.
Yeah.
But it was in certain schools, even when I was growing up and that, you had to survive, and a lot of these kids were being abused at home, or they didn't have parents at home, or they had a point to prove because they were being bullied themselves. You know what I mean? It's all everyone's got a story, you know, and that's
the hard part. Cause where do you draw that line? Of
exactly,
being a victim and being not a victim, but being the circumstance this person lives under and the harm that they've done. Because I think that if you've got a kid who punched your kid, if say someone punched me, I struggle to forgive that just because they had a bad week.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
Deserve that.
No one deserves that. No one deserves that.
So it's quite hard to be, but it's like what we were saying at the beginning, about how being the bigger person and kind of forgiveness and understanding the other person, and then trying to come to terms with that for yourself as well, having been the victim of abuse or crime or whatever. It's just that's the hardest part. It really is, I think, and I think though that it's very noble that. People are able to do that, and I don't know. I mean, there were certain circumstances I think I'd struggle with. Yeah, and I'd like to become a fair person, but fuck,
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say that I'm a fair person that's quite cultured, and that has a level of understanding because I've been there myself. But there is a line, and it's down to the individual to learn themselves. Really, a lot of the time, as I go back to that point, only you can really help you.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to really dig deep and admit to yourself when you're wrong. Yeah. Admit what you need to change, and as I say, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength when you realise things, but then we all have choices as well, and it's whatever choice you make.
And make that effort to reconcile, even though the other person's probably going to be a dick about it at first.
Yes. But, you've just got... It's just the way it is, really. They'll come round to it in their own time, but until then, you still do you, and you don't deserve to put up with that.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, so...
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah. I feel like we should. Yeah, I feel like I mean, like, well, I think that's a really quite a good note to end on. Really, I mean,
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've got nothing after that. I was going to ask about Me Too. Yeah, but do you feel that me? It almost feels redundant now. Because after that, I was like,
no, Me Too. It's like